We've always had room in our hearts for film and TV, not just on Netflix, but tape and disc and theaters. Also, God forbid that they take it all away and leave us nothing to broadcast to loyal listeners. We'll binge watch every single movie, so you don't have to. What else are we here for? Coming to you every week. Listen to us while you're busy. Luckily, we forgot to grow up.
Hey, it's Scott.
Hey, it's Andrew. And this week, I think we're going to carry on from last week, where, much to the chagrin of our listeners, I wasn't here to partake in the top 100 movies that Scott and Craig did. So I think this week, Scott and I are going to do the top 100 TV series, if that works for you guys, because we're going to do it anyways, aren't we, Scott?
Yep, this is going to already be recorded. You guys won't have really an option if this episode's already going to be released once it gets to you, once you're hearing this. So.
If our podcast is anything like it is on my Podbean, it downloads automatically for some reason. I never said it that way, but it knows that I love us that much. So you guys should go set it to that, because if I'm doing it, you guys should do it. And then once we've talked roughly 37 of the top 100 TV series, we'll probably bounce over to www.tw. But there'll also be a little bit of some news that I'm sure most of you movie listeners have heard of by now. But we're gonna get to that. Scott, do you want to go first? Do you want to hit me with...
Yeah, sure. I can start off with Guess That Top 100 TV Series. We're using IMDb's list, ranked by, I guess, their ratings, whatever they come up with. But yeah, so we're just going to be reading the description to one another, and the other person has to guess it. That's just for our audiences, Andrew. So yeah, the first one I got for you is, at the height of the Cold War, two agents pose as your average American couple, complete with family.
Complete with what?
Complete with family. Grammatically, I think it should say complete with a family, but along with a family.
Is this one I should know?
Potentially. It's pretty like critically acclaimed. Like recently.
Oh, man.
It's a fairly recent one.
It's a recent show.
Yes,
okay.
I did kind of leave out a slightly. Well, I guess I left out a certain word that kind of would. I don't know if it would give it away more, but I also referred to the Cold War and America, so that kind of leaves one thing which I would have been referring to that those agents as, especially if they're posing as Americans.
Man, this is embarrassing. I feel like I should definitely know this.
Okay, well, we can play around with it a little bit more. I'll give you a few clues before I let you know what it is.
Can I get a year that it came out?
All right, so it ran. So this show has wrapped up already, but it did run from 2013 to 2018. So it did finish up last year.
Oh, damn! So it was a fairly long series then, eh?
Yep, I believe 5 or 6 seasons it had, maybe even 7. Just not sure. I don't want to open up the second page just in case that slows down the internet too much. But yes, it.
Smart.
Yes.
Okay, give me another hint.
One of the stars was recently cast in the next Star Wars movie, or not recently, I guess, but was announced as one of the cast of the new Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker. Right.
Well, son of the bitch. That does not help me at all. Huh, man. I got nothing, dude. I got nothing.
Okay. Well, the show is called The Americans.
That makes sense.
Yes. So
you know what? I've heard of it. Never watched it. I've definitely seen it on something.
Yes, it's. I believe it was on USA Channel or AMC or one of those ones like that.
Okay.
And yeah, like since it did wrap up last year, and it's about Russian agents posing as an American couple, it did have pretty big pop in pop culture a little bit. So that's probably why you heard about it. It got a lot of critical acclaim because it was a well-done show. I've checked out a few episodes of the first season. It wasn't 100% for me. I might visit it again one day, but yeah. So, yeah, that's the first one.
That's fair. What number is that on the list, Scott?
That was 36.
36. Okay.
Ranked by pop, or what's it ranked by right now? Sorry, I don't. Mine's sorted by just list order. So.
List order. Okay. Well, I'm about to hit you with one. Okay.
All right.
You ready for this?
I am.
I'm not.
Okay.
A group of friends living somewhere make their way through life from their high school days into adulthood.
Ooh, see, we were talking about this before. This is so vague. It's like, okay, what sitcom is this?
Yeah.
My immediate thought goes to Friends, but I think that might be too easy of a choice.
But it says from their school days into adulthood.
Yeah,
and like they do a couple flashbacks, but
yes. Oh, so we followed these friends from their school days till adulthood. Okay.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Okay. Ooh. Huh. Part of me wants to say Saved by the Bell, but I don't think that made the top 100. Ooh, this is a toughie. I think I'm gonna need a clue for this. What year did it run?
It ran from 1990 to 2000. And I will give you another hint, if you want it.
Okay.
It was rebooted.
Oh. Okay. Ooh.
Now let me check to the extent of the reboot, whether it was one of those bullshit like, oh, we're gonna pick it up where it left off 10 years down the road, or if it was a legit.
Okay. Well, that eliminates Full House out of my mind. That also, I'm like, well, that'd be a very stretch of that definition, or that description, I should say. Oh, this one's being a little tougher for me than I thought. I kind of want to go back to, like, leaning back towards Saved by the Bell, just timeline-wise. Because we did have we did see them in middle school, and in high school, and in college. And I think there was that one thing where they were after college, but I'm not sure. But it could also be just I'm thinking way too much about the show I watched growing up.
So you're gonna lock in an answer?
Huh. Can you give me any clues about any of the stars?
About the stars, okay.
Like any kind of vague clue. Like, are any of them hosts?
Jason Priestley's in it, if that helps.
Don't even
As
know
is
who that is.
Luke Perry, R.I.P.
Oh, okay. So this is Is it Beverly Hills 90210?
It is. It is Beverly
Okay.
Hills 90210.
Nice.
I didn't
That's
want to say
so
Tori
far.
Spelling because that would be like.
See, it was Luke
Obvious.
Perry who I thought was, for me, was very obvious for that. At the same time, though, I'm like, was it that? In my mind, I was like, is it Beverly Hills 90210, or was it that other one that's name I'm forgetting now? Which is exactly the same, but just different.
You mean most of those shows?
Exactly. Like the OC later on. The OC
Oh,
was
fuck.
the 2000s version of that.
God. The only thing worse is like One Tree Hill.
Yeah, I never watched that either. Okay, so I'm up now. Gotta find something. Okay, so this is gonna be another very vague one.
Oh,
All right.
beautiful.
So, a medium-sized city, drug scene, seen through the eyes of drug dealers and law enforcement.
Oh, is this The Wire?
It is The Wire.
Baltimore?
Way to go.
Fuck,
did
I
leave
love
out
that show.
Baltimore. It is a medium-sized
Love
city,
that
right?
show. Love that show. I believe it is.
Okay, I'm not really sure. I just threw that out there because I'm like, I don't know if it's a large American city. Like, I don't know if it's up there with New York size. But I'm like, it's definitely a small city. But I also didn't want to say Baltimore because I felt that would 100% give it away. I thought it was vague enough, but clearly not because you love The Wire.
Because I love The Wire. I know everybody who's watched The Wire is like, oh, you gotta watch The Wire because it's so good. I don't get pushy about it like that, but it is so good.
I do want to check it out. I have HBO now, so I have been meaning to get to it. So I'll be along the list of things that I got to get to eventually. But yeah, that's number 15 on the list by the list order. So 15th, according to this IMDb list at least, is the 15th best TV series.
I accept that.
It
I
is up
accept
there.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Oh no, man. Some of these descriptions, like, they give it away.
Yeah, that's the tough part about this one a little bit too, is we are trying
So
to
you have to,
find
like,
one
come
that's
up
not
with your
too
own.
vague. Yeah, well, modifying it a little bit if you can. The Baltimore to medium-sized city is a very amateur example of that, I would say, but in that kind of limelight, I would say, still works. Does that make sense?
Okay, here we go. A team of humanoid animals fight evil in their adopted home world.
Humanoid animals. Okay. Well, I don't even know. I'm trying to think what has humanoid animals.
It's a cartoon, obviously.
Okay, well that was definitely that was a very good clue, I think. It's not Beast Wars, is it?
That'd
be a very big stretch.
Because I'd be creaming my pants right now for that.
Is it Thundercats?
Oh, yeah, it is.
Nice. Okay.
Number 98.
90. I was gonna say that must be really close to
Ran
the
from
bottom
1985 to 1989.
4 seasons.
Let's find out how many episodes there were. There was 125 episodes.
Yeah, kid shows. I love that. That's one thing I always find fascinating about going to see like kid shows from that era. That's like, yeah, they're only around for 4 years, but they still got 100 episodes out because they were on every Saturday for 4 years. Or
Well,
something
that's
like
like shows like Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
Have like 50 episodes in a season.
Yep.
Like
every Saturday.
Every Saturday for a year. That's
yeah.
a season. None of this bullshit like, here's 18 episodes. Like, get the fuck out of here, okay? Double down. Make me happy.
Yeah, but then there's shows like when you go rewatch like Dragon Ball, you're like, oh, I see why this is 50 episodes a season. They don't do anything for 25 episodes.
Well, that's because they got a spirit bomb for like 14 episodes.
Yeah, to charge that up.
But I'd still watch that shit though. Every day.
Yes. So it's back to me then, right?
Back to you.
Okay, I gotta find another one. The first thing I scrolled to is a very obvious one. I'm just gonna throw it at you. Just for fun. A blind lawyer by day, vigilante by night.
Oh man, can I get another 4.5 hints? Because like you're a real daredevil about this, trying to sneak this one past me.
I just thought that was one of those ones that's like I couldn't even think of any way to change that one. That's one of those ones that it's like, yeah, that's too obvious.
Well, it's like this one. A streetwise, poor young man from a city is sent by his mother to live with his aunt and uncle and cousins in their somewhere mansion.
Huh.
They literally give you like 90% of the theme song right there.
It does sound like a fresh new take.
Fresh.
Okay, I found one. I think this is vague enough that it'll take you a few minutes maybe to get. Who knows, maybe it's very obvious. So, 500 years in the future, a renegade crew aboard a small spacecraft tries to survive as they travel the unknown parts of the galaxy and evade warring factions as well as authority agents out to get them.
It's not Firefly, is it?
It's Firefly, okay. I wasn't sure if that was vague enough or not. It had 1 season, so
honestly, I was like, I feel like he'd be a little more confident if it was a Star Trek thing, because there's no way I would guess it. Firefly's like the one space show I've seen most of.
That's fair. I was hoping maybe you would like think that it was that'd be too obvious, since I love Firefly. But yeah, you know, win some, you lose some.
That's fair. Well, okay, like looking at this list though, like the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of the first 11, I think I could guess in one guess. So I'm going to give you one of the ones, okay?
Okay.
A man recalls growing up during the late 60s and early 70s. The turbulent social times make the transition from child to adult unusually interesting. This show ran from 1988 to 1993.
This is in the top 10, you said? Top 11?
Yes.
Oh gosh, and I'm not getting it?
Well, I feel like if you don't get this, you're going to be a real savage, dude.
Okay, give me the description one more time. I'm going to really focus.
Someone recalls growing up during the late 60s and early 70s. The turbulent social times make the transition from child to adult unusually interesting.
I'm trying to think what show has somebody like some older person telling their story. You know what I mean? Like telling the story of their younger days. That's what I'm getting from this description. Is like that's kind of the premise, at least, not necessarily that it's set Like it's set in the. Oh, maybe I'm overthinking this.
Well, while you wonder that, do you want me to go back and give you another hint?
I'm always down for more hints.
Okay. That was the hint.
Oh. Go back.
While you wonder about that.
Wonder Years?
There we go.
I've never seen that show. I didn't even know what it's about.
It's got Fred Savage. I also slipped Savage in there as a hint for you.
Oh, that puts that a lot more into context now that you say
Yeah.
that. See, this is why this is fun, because I probably should have gotten that, but I know nothing about that.
That is number 5.
Number 5. Ooh.
I've never seen The Wonder Years. I've heard of it.
Yes. Well, it's in our defense. It's quite literally before our time.
Yeah, it's true.
Finished as the year we were born.
It ended as we were birthed.
Yes. So, no, that was a good one. I like that. I'm gonna give you a super vague and tough one.
I guess I deserve that, eh?
So it says a working class family and their oddball friends. This only ran for a single season and somehow is in this top 100.
A working class family.
Yes.
And their oddball friends. Okay.
Yes, that's word for word the description. I didn't even change anything.
Is it animated?
No. It
No.
stars a pretty prominent stand-up comedian.
Well, you can't give me that because I would know, right?
Well,
Okay,
I said prominent
year?
because I wouldn't. So what year is the show? It is
Yeah.
06 to 07, it says. That's why I'm assuming it was just a single season, potentially 2 seasons.
Oh man, is this gonna be one like I should fucking know? Like,
No. You're probably not going to get this. You probably never heard of this. You just know. I do know you know the comedian, at least. I for sure know you know who it is.
I don't want to cave.
I can try to give you more hints. Avoiding that.
'Cause I got nothing, dude.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna open up the show and see if I can come up with some more hints based off of it. But this comedian was one that was kind of wrapped up in part of the Me Too movement, if that helps you decide who the comedian is. If you get the comedian, at least at this point, I'll give you the show, since it was such a vague one.
Like, how big are we talking? Like, as a prominent comedian.
He's got some Netflix specials. I don't know. I'm trying to
Like the only like,
because what he did was pretty unique to like him and the Me Too movement. From
like all
what
I can
know.
think of is Aziz Ansari's show.
No.
But that is it. That's all I can think of.
Yeah, no. This guy definitely was more
Legit, like
he did definitely was did something that was Me Too offensible. You know what I mean?
yeah, I got nothing, dude.
Okay, it was Louis C.K. It's
Oh,
Lucky Louie is the show.
Yeah, okay.
Single
That
season.
made it on there.
That's why I was surprised. It's number 62. It has a 7.9 rating. Again, though, we should throw that out there that I think these are user-generated lists that we're potentially using, because at the top it does say by NY Herald Tributes. That actually sounds like a newspaper who did this one in particular, so it's hard to say exactly who the rating's by, but yes. I didn't think you would get that one. I just thought it was funny because it was a very vague one. I was curious to see what guesses you would have, but I guess it stumped you more than I thought. I thought it was vague.
The comedian part like threw me off because I was like,
well,
what comedian had a shitty show?
Well, a lot of them had that. Like a lot of them had single season shows.
But that's true. But I think even Ellen made it like two seasons, didn't she?
I thought she maybe made it further than that, but hers was ended because she came out too. So
Yeah.
I had a little more around it than it just.
Damn it, Ellen.
Than it sucked. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
You cost us more comedy. But good for you. Okay. Well, I'm gonna hit you with this one.
Yep, throw it at me.
A brilliant and charismatic, yet psychotic serial killer communicates with other active serial killers and activates a cult of believers following his every command.
Okay, well, at first I was like, Dexter? And then you went into the cult part, and I'm like, I don't think that happened in Dexter. I didn't watch the last season, but I don't think that happened in the last season.
I think Dexter was a little more like sanctimonious, wasn't he? He was very like, I do this because I have to keep everyone else safe.
Well, and because it was a part of him. Like, he had those thoughts, so it was his way of, like, getting those thoughts out of him because he was a psycho or psychopath or sociopath. I don't remember which one exactly it was. But yeah, so it's not Dexter. Whew. Sounds like a type of show I would avoid watching. It's not Hannibal.
It is not Hannibal.
Okay. Got any clues for me?
Oh man, I gotta find it because I scrolled down.
Oh, my bad.
Okay. It's got a very prominent actor from like the 80s, 90s.
Okay.
It was on TV for 3 years, which is a lot longer than I thought it would be.
What years?
2013 to 2015.
Okay. That narrows it down a little bit. A little bit. Not much though. I'm still drawing a blank. Yeah, I got nothing. I really got nothing on this one.
You got nothing? Do you want another hint, or?
If you've got one that you think will help.
Let me think. I don't want to give you a little he said, she said, but the main actor in this might be Picture Perfect.
Perfect. I feel like that's a reference that I'm just missing.
Yeah, there's two references.
Yeah, I was trying to focus on those two because I know you like to do that. I'm like, I got nothing. Give it here.
Okay, well, it was Kevin Bacon.
Okay. What show was
and
he in?
The Following.
Okay, yeah. No, I would have never gotten that. I've never even heard of that. Okay.
I remember seeing trailers for it on like Global or something like that.
Okay.
Whatever it was on.
It does sound like one of those.
But I never watched it.
New CSI type-y shows, Criminal Mind-esque shows, like appealing to those type of audiences. Okay. Well, that was a good one. I like that. That was a tough one. Okay. A scrappy, fiercely loyal family makes no apologies. I left out the city. But it is a city that you follow one of the sports teams of, or multiple sports teams of, and/or.
Okay, so it's a scrappy Chicago city.
Yeah.
Okay, a scrappy family, and what do they do?
They're loyal, and it makes no apologies. I think that's kind of where it's like, you gotta focus on the makes no apologies.
Makes no apologies.
Family who makes no apologies.
Man, the only family I'm thinking of right now is The Sopranos.
No, definitely not them.
Definitely not that.
No.
This is one I should know, eh?
I think you watched this show, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not sure. It's a show I think I've talked about on the podcast, saying I don't watch it, or I tried to watch the first episode, and I did not like the premise, because I'm like, how can you watch this as a comedy? This is sad. And it took me back to my childhood a little too much. Not in like certain ways, but in other ways, yes.
Okay, give me another hint.
Okay, it's more recent. It's still running. It started in 2011. It's a comedy, drama. It's on Showtime.
You said it started in 2011?
Yes. According to IMDb.
Shameless?
Yeah, it is Shameless.
Ugh, those fucks. The Gallaghers.
Okay, so did you watch that show, or?
I did. I watched like 6 seasons of it and then just tapped out.
Okay, so you got a lot further than
because there just wasn't enough jail time involved.
Well, see, that's where my problem was. Like, starting the show, I was like, wait, this is about a family who's trying to keep it together with an alcoholic dad, and it's like, the kids all have jobs. That's the part that resonated with me. Like a bunch of these like literal kids having to have jobs and be the adults. So I'm like, nope, this takes me back way too much to growing up. I don't like. No, who's laughing at this? Who's laughing at these kids who are being raised by an alcoholic? Like why am I the one who sees this?
I'm fairly confident when I say this. I'm willing to bet that 80% of this show's like loyal following was there to see what's her face's tits like banging hard. Like what's her name?
It is a Showtime show.
Emmy Rossum, like Fiona Gallagher. Like they wanted to see her boobs, and they wanted to see Lip's creepy face just boning down hard.
Yeah, and that's exactly, and that's just.
It was literally a show that the only good thing about it was the sex.
Yeah, and that's very classic showcase shows, and those appealed a lot more to me when I was a teenager, and porn wasn't quite as easily as accessible. A lot more viruses back when we were in high school.
Yeah. Oh, LimeWire fried a handful of computers in my home.
Yeah, exactly. So those shows I got back then. Now I'm like, no, but yeah. Anyways.
Okay.
You got one for me?
A series chronicling the daily activities of an unusual place and its inhabitants. I just cut like 4 words out because those 4 words would like spoon feed it to you.
Is it The Good Place?
No, that show is fantastic. I don't even think it's on this list though.
Really?
Okay. A series chronicling the daily activities of an unusual prison.
Okay. Well, I only know Prison Break. But I'm also like, now, is there animated shows that I'm forgetting about? It's not animated, is it?
No, this one is live action.
Okay, so now I'm getting more ideas. Okay, is it Orange is the New Black?
No, fuck that show. I would never talk about that.
Fair. Okay, I'm just going.
How dare you? How dare you?
I'm just going with prison shows. So it wasn't Prison Break. It wasn't Orange is the New Black. I'm gonna get
this one. I just found out has Ernie Hudson and J.K. Simmons in it as like the 2 main guys. How the fuck did I never watch this?
Is this Oz?
It's Oz.
Okay, yeah, that's an HBO one, right?
I guess so, yeah.
I believe it is.
I wonder if that's on Crave.
Okay, yeah, I've never seen that, but I've heard of it. And again, it's one of the 4 prison shows I can think of. That was a good one.
Oh my god.
The J.K. Simmons part definitely helped seal that one for me, though, because I was like, I think he was in that.
No, I just gotta vent a little bit. I am fucking sick of all of these like streaming services that keep like shoving the new like subscribe to this on us because they know they've got us. They know they've got us by the short and curlies. They've got our sacks in the vice. They know they're like, oh, we sucked them in with cheaper product, and now we're just gonna start doing exactly the same thing we did to them with TV, to them with the internet.
Yeah. So what's currently which one's getting you? Is it Amazon Prime right now?
No, well, Prime I'm not happy about, but also most of the stuff that they're offering I own on DVD anyways. Okay. So I'm not super concerned about it. It's Crave because I just logged in to see if Oz was there, and it's like only available with Movies Plus HBO.
Yeah, I was gonna
and
say,
it's the Righteous Gemstones, which
that's
looks
HBO.
which looks like a series that I would be interested in.
Yes.
Because it's got my boy John Goodman in it. Mm-hmm. It's got Danny McBride. It appears to have that guy, Adam Devine or Adam Devine, however the fuck it's pronounced.
Yeah.
Looks like something I would watch. 3 generations of a famous televangelist family engage in charitable work, bickering, and greed. I'd be in for that. I'd be into them, like the blasphemy that goes there. Yeah. But can't watch it because I'm too cheap and I don't believe in that system. Yet I can sit back and I can just be like, The Handmaid's Tale. I don't give 2 flying fucks about The Handmaid's Tale.
I understand where you're coming from because you canceled your Crave subscription not too long ago, right?
Yeah, but I re-snagged that shit.
Oh, okay.
So that Kendall could watch Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay, so you did resubscribe
Yeah.
to HBO.
Good news though, I've got Oz, so I'm gonna watch that shit.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, see, and that's why I'm still okay with paying for HBO. I know it's a little bit more, but I also haven't added their other things. So they added Stars is another option you can add if you want to watch all of Black Sails. I'm guessing you probably have that already on DVD.
I don't have it, but I've seen it. My uncle has it.
Okay. So there you go. So yeah, like I didn't subscribe to that one. It does have more movies on that one, but I get where you're coming from, but I'm okay with it because this one, the difference for this is just like your basic package is a lot lower than cable can be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like cable, your minimum's 50, whereas this for Crave it's 10, and then you add whatever you want on top of that after. So
My problem is that they're all like, I know fucking damn well it's all of like the guys running these things. They play golf, they go out to lunch, and they talk about like, well, we're gonna buy this and we're gonna buy this, because I don't know how many times I've gone to watch something on Netflix because I knew it was there. Not on Netflix anymore, but now it's on Crave, and I've got Crave, but oh, never mind, it's under this subscription. So now I either gotta consider going and getting that, or I gotta say, fuck it. And I promise you, 99% of the time, I'm gonna say, fuck it.
Well, yeah, that's the point, though, is like, yeah, you can say fuck it. That's why I like it, though, is you can say fuck it, and it doesn't change anything. Whereas, like, cable, it's like, and even if you did, like, let's say 1 month, those, that 1% of the time you did decide, you could unsubscribe the next month after from that thing. So if you did add Stars, so you could watch a couple, like, to watch Black Sails, you can then take that off your subscription after a lot easier than you could with cable. But
It's all bullshit.
I still agree. I'm not disagreeing necessarily with that part. I'm just I think it's the lesser of the two evils is where I...
And who the fuck is still giving Jim Jeffries work? Who and why?
Couldn't help you there.
Who and why?
HBO.
This ugly motherfucker.
I'm guessing this, maybe he had an HBO deal back, like from way back in the day. You know what I mean?
Who do they think they are? Netflix just being like, hey, you need to do 17 projects for us. Even if it's just showing up once. You need to do it.
I think maybe, actually. I'm not sure. But that does sound like something that they might do.
Fuck. Such a piss off, dude. Such a piss off. Anyways, back to the list. I believe it is your turn.
It is. I've got one which I think you'll probably get, but I'm curious to see if I can make it vague enough for you to have a little trouble with it. So a young teen struggles to find his place in the world as he learns to harness his powers for good and deals with the typical troubles of teenage life.
Oh man, that was vague.
Yeah, I thought so.
A teenager?
Yes.
And is this a superhero show?
I did say powers.
You said powers.
That was neither a confirmation of superheroes nor a denial. I was trying to keep it vague.
Oh man, the powers throws it off.
It is superheroes, yes.
It is, yeah, it has to be
superhero. Too
I'm trying to think of like a teenage superhero though, like a show that we watch outside of like Smallville. Is it Smallville?
It's Smallville.
Fuck yes.
What I left out was a young Clark Kent to harness his alien powers.
Well, I wasn't sure if Smallville was on this list. It needs to be if
it's
it wasn't.
90s,
But
it's 98.
Oh, so it slid in.
Just slid in. But it's also rated higher than Glow according to this, which really makes me think this is an older list because Glow is, I think, a lot more popular or higher rated than that nowadays. Okay, well, my list isn't sorted by rating, obviously, because it is rated higher by stars than Smallville.
Oh, okay.
But yes, I thought that was fun. I that's why I did leave out alien / superpowers, because I thought that 100% gave it away.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
then you asked the right question, and I couldn't really dance around it very well.
Okay, here we go. I'm about to hit you with a new one. Maybe. It's refreshing. Oh god, I broke the internet.
Oh no.
Call me Ralph. Okay. The lives, loves, and losses of employees of a Chicago spot.
Is that Cheers?
That was too vague. No, not Cheers. Cheers is in Chicago. I thought Cheers was like Detroit or something.
I don't know. I knew it was in some
or
city.
Boston. Isn't it Boston?
I don't know where Cheers takes place.
Okay, the lives, loves, and losses of doctors and nurses at a hospital.
Is this Grey's Anatomy?
No.
Is it
Good
ER?
guess, though. ER.
Okay. I've never seen that. I think
It
my
is
family's...
Boston. It is Boston. For Cheers.
For Cheers? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now I'll remember that it's Boston. I just never knew that before. I don't...
Sorry, we're closed. That's the final line to Cheers.
And clearly, I didn't know that. Okay, well, I guess that means it's back to me as I try to stretch on and find something that you would maybe know, but would also make it a little bit challenging. Okay, so I think I've got one. A high school mathlete starts hanging out with a group of burnouts while her younger brother navigates his freshman year.
Oh, is this the one with Linda Cardellini in it?
Yes.
Oh, fuck. I can picture James Franco.
Yep. You're getting the cast.
Yep. Oh, it's got...
Which one of the two shows is it? Because I know you got the two of them bouncing around in your head.
Oh, man. I can't remember the name of the show.
You wouldn't call them nerds, but you might call them...
Geeks? Freaks and Geeks.
There you go.
There we go.
What's the other one? The other one's Undeclared. That's
Undeclared.
the other one that was similar to this, around the same time. Also had Seth Rogen as like a secondary cast in both of them. But yeah, I thought that was nice and vague enough.
Good. That was a good one, though.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Sir.
An international spy recruited out of college, trained for espionage and self-defense.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's super vague.
It's got a smoke show as the lead, if that helps.
What year is this?
2001 to 2006.
It's Alias?
Alias. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Nice.
crushed that, dude.
It's the only one I can think of with a female spy that ran for
And
a decent
Victor
bit.
Garber.
Yes, that's actually the more the reason why I've been meaning to actually check it out. That and it's J.J. Abrams.
Ah.
Those all tie into why I want to check out it,
That's
but
fair.
I haven't yet because it's not on any streaming that I can think of or that I've noticed yet. But yeah, that was a good one. I like that one because I also was bounced around. There was like Covert Affairs, which is
Okay.
a more recent one, but that one's lower quality. And got super boring after like the second season.
I believe that.
Yeah. Okay, next up, what do we got here?
Do you want to do two more each?
Yeah, I like that. Oh, we've been doing this longer than I thought.
Yeah.
Yep, okay. Yeah, two more each sounds good. All right, so an eccentric, fun-loving judge presides over an urban night court and all the silliness going on there.
Okay, can you repeat that?
An eccentric, fun-loving judge presides over an urban court and all the silliness going on there.
An urban court. This is a comedy?
Yes, from the 1984 to 92. Huh, so this is funny because this one I picked because I thought it was very obvious.
Oh man.
So I did leave out a
I feel
word.
like this is one that I'm gonna like
He
kick
presides
myself.
over a urban night court.
Man,
It's night court.
Night Court. Oh.
Have you ever seen that or heard of
No.
it?
I think I've heard of it. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Oh,
though.
okay. I thought me and you have talked about it before because that is
Possibly
a
like
great,
in passing.
That is a great like sitcom from back in the day that I used to watch all the time. Great cast of like people who I don't know very well, but a couple of those. Oh yeah, that guy kind of people. But yeah, no, I thought we had talked about it more. I'm just clearly just thinking of my childhood watching it on TBS.
Oh man, most of the good ones that are left are like obvious as shit.
Yeah.
So you have to like make them. Okay, here we go. I'm just gonna scroll. There we go. Oh fuck. Okay. Two co-workers. One's a believer. One's a skeptic. Investigate stuff while other people work
Is this
to
X-Files?
impede their efforts. Yeah.
Okay, I got one that I'm going to try to make very vague. The hint being, before I even start it, is this is a show you like and watch, or
Okay.
have watched. Okay, I just gotta think of another word for the thing that describes him. I'm just gonna go, a dude struggles to balance being a father and being involved in a...
Oh, Sam Crow, his Sons of Anarchy.
Yes, it is Samson Anarchy. I was like, a dude, I was like, it says as a biker.
Yeah.
Struggles to be a father and being involved in a... And I was like, how do I change outlaw motorcycle club?
Gang.
I was just like, to a club.
Didn't even need it.
Yeah. It was just one I came across. One of the first ones I came across. So what, one more then? For you, or did you already do two?
One more.
One more. Last one.
Here we go. Last one. A secret team is formed to explore places through recently discovered optics, doorways. I guess doorways would be
So,
better.
is this Stargate?
Yeah, Stargate. SG-1.
Stargate SG-1, my favorite show, which I'm also rewatching still.
There we go.
Which I guess leads us into, it's a perfect segue into what did we watch this week?
Well, I thought we were also going to discuss those two new news segments.
That's true. Not such a great segue then. To the news.
to news.
I just always wanted to like back to the studio it, and that was the closest I
That's
could
it.
get. Yeah.
Some stuff that's blowing up the web right now.
Yes. We've got the Spider-Man might be leaving the MCU because the Sony Disney deal has ended. This will be a few days old by the time this episode comes out, but unless I decide to release it tonight since I'm editing it. That's something we could talk about outside of this. Anyways, yeah, so the Disney and Marvel deal, or the Disney Sony deal has ended over sharing Spider-Man. Up to now, Marvel has done all the creative leadership behind the Sony Spider-Man movies, and they only got, what I read was actually a 5% of the
opening day or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. It said
Yeah.
first grosses or something like that, which I was like, I don't know exactly what that applies to, but they got a small chunk, which is more than I thought. I thought they only had the merchandising rights, but Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios was trying to renegotiate to get it to a 50-50 split and to bring all of the Spider-Man Sony properties, that being Venom and Spider-Verse, into the MCU properly and have it all connected properly, and then they share the financial success going forward. Sony declined that. They didn't want to give up $500 million a movie.
I understand the Sony side of it, where Sony's, I think they're coming forwards and they're trying to say, listen, like, it's ours.
Yeah.
Okay? You want to borrow it, fucking rent this shit or buy it from me. And I get it. But my big thing is, like, I can't imagine them not striking a deal.
No,
at
I
this
can't
point.
either.
Like, Marvel's set up to require Spider-Man down the road for some stuff. Else there's like this giant fucking open hole. And you know, like, if Sony goes to try to remake them, there's going to be some type of contractual issue where Marvel and Disney are going to come back and sue Sony, being like, oh, well, you can't use those characters because we established them, or whatever bullshit there's going to be there.
Well,
It doesn't make sense for either of these guys to not do it. However, as fans of movies, and those few of you who listen out there, if ever there was a punctuation that the fan doesn't matter, it's all about the money, it's this.
Yeah, that's what I agree. This is Sony saying, well, we care more about making money than giving good movies to the fans, and giving them what they've wanted for the last 5 movies, because he's been involved in 5 movies since this deal was struck.
Well, I think Spider-Man is a superhero, and statistically, I think it would back me up if I were willing to go do, the diving in to find the statistics. But I'm pretty sure Peter Parker is like top 3 recognized superhero names.
Oh yeah, he's
Period. Like
still,
Spider-Man's definitely top 3.
He's one of the highest
Like-
merchandising, like selling merchandise. Like I think him and Batman are the 2 highest.
Yeah,
And,
like
like,
my money would have been
recognizable-
him, Superman, and Batman.
Yep.
Like those would be the top 3 that I could think of.
I believe, in the stats back you up on that. I believe I know for almost like I'm 95% sure that he's definitely the best-selling Marvel character, most recognizable, most everything, yada yada. Just because he's been around so long, he's had so many different iterations, different places, and I think he's the easiest one to connect to. Anybody can put a Spider-Man suit on, as opposed to like different ones where it's like, okay, Iron Man's a little less accessible. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, I agree. I think this is a big mistake on Sony's part. I understand why they don't want to do a 50-50 deal. I think that's just a little greedy on Marvel's part. I also don't know to the extent, like how much of the work Marvel does. I know they do a lot of like the creative work, but I don't know after like, you know, the main planning. Are they the ones filming it? Is it all Marvel Studios? I believe Far From Home had the Marvel Studios stamp on it, so I don't know if it was just they made it and Sony just took it and sold it. And if that's the case, I get why Disney's like, okay, yeah, well, no, we need to make some of that money back that we're spending on these movies. But 50 is still pretty high. But it's also like, well, if they're spending 200 million, like.
Well, didn't Disney agree, like when they loaned out the character initially, when they struck their first deal, wasn't it like they have to, like there has to be some type of Spider-Man affiliated movie that comes out like every other year? Be it either Spider-Man or Venom, or like he makes a cameo.
I don't know if that was part of the Spider-Man deal or not. I know that was part of the Fantastic Four, the Marvel's deal with Fox initially with the Fantastic Four. That's why we got a few of the Fantastic Fours throughout. Like that's why we got the last Fantastic Four, because it was actually about to run out at that point. So I don't know if that applies to Spider-Man, and if it does, I don't think Sony. If Sony's not willing to do this, I don't think they're gonna, pause anytime soon to, let that expire at any point. They haven't even given it like 2 years without a Spider-Man movie, I believe, in the last, I think we've gone 4 years without Spider-Man Max in the last 2 decades.
Yeah, it would be whatever Spider-Man 3 to what The Amazing Spider-Man was.
Yeah.
That would be the biggest gap.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, nothing.
Yeah, and that
like
gap,
The Amazing Spider-Man 2 to Civil War.
Yeah, which we're pretty close to one another.
But no, I think Marvel's fan base isn't as dedicated, I don't think, as people think they are. Like, yes, Marvel movies make the most.
Yeah.
But I think their fan base is a bunch of bandwagoners. A lot of people who are like, oh yeah, no, these movies have been around for 10 years. There's so many of them. I love them because they're so good. Whereas they're not dedicated fans. They go because it's the social normity to do so. And they are entertaining movies, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that.
I agree.
But I think that's what a lot of it is.
Oh yeah, more people are in that group, I would say, than there are hardcore fans. Because you know this by checking out the grosses of Ant-Man the Wasp, where you're like, oh yeah, that one did break $1 billion. And it's because people didn't, the mainstream didn't care as much about that because it came out so close to Infinity War.
Because it didn't have the Avengers stamp on it, or Iron Man, or the ones who had fully established interest.
Exactly, and so I agree. There is a big base. There is definitely a big MCU base, which is why they've never had a miss to this point, a financial miss from what I know of, from what I can remember at least. They haven't had a financial miss yet because they have such a big base. But I agree. I think that base can be affected in the way that the X-Men base was affected, because there was a point where X-Men was, still doing good enough that's why they made more and more of them. But then it also hit a point Dark Phoenix was one of the worst, one of the biggest losses in all of superhero movies. So it's, things do waver, especially when you mess with continuity and people having to be like, oh, is this part of this anymore? What's the backstory on this one? Is Tom Holland still going to be involved with Sony, or is he going to be is he going to be out or not? Are they going to have to do Spider-Man? There's so many questions and so many things that it's well, if they do change this one little thing, it could, again, we have another Amazing Spider-Man on our hands.
Yeah, well, I think if they aren't able to strike something up, which I can't imagine them not, because no matter what, it's profitable for both of them.
Yeah, it's just finding the right
even
number.
if Disney's breaking even on it, being able to use his character and other stuff is going to help out.
Yeah, and I think that's where we're going to eventually get to. I think right now from what I read, what happened was Disney was like 50-50 and Sony was just like no. And that's why it's now news, because it's like they didn't even counter offer, so it's like Disney didn't have anything even to work with to be like okay, what about this, or like,
Well, Disney's going to have to show up and beg and grovel. They're going to have to.
Yeah, well, that's their only option in a sense. Or buy Sony.
Because you can't, which I don't even think they'd be allowed to.
Not legally
that point,
would be the closest. It's tough to say, though. They might be
I think
Sony
might be the CIS or whatever it is, or no, not CIS.
Consumer Protection Bureau.
Yeah. Like, whatever it is, like, I think they'd be like, you know what? You can't own them because that's too many of the big production companies you now have under your hat.
No, I agree. It's possible. It just depends on what share of the market Sony makes up, really, what it comes down to. And if I remember reading, not recently, but some time ago, I believe the Sony Pictures was up for sale. And my guess is that you are right that Disney probably knows more than we do, obviously, about what they can buy and what they can't. And so that's why I imagine they haven't. They didn't just swoop it up when they bought Fox as well. Because I don't see it's not that they didn't have the money. It's more I think you're right that they probably some even more legality in that sense that it wasn't quite worth it after getting Fox. But who knows? Yeah. It's hard to say because Disney's only doing better and better every year. So it's like, okay, well. Yeah.
Well, right now I think Disney is. I don't want to say they're coming to a standstill because they're still pumping out so much content.
They've had $5 billion this year.
Yeah, like their original content though. Seems to be struggling. Like where they have to keep like churning out rehashes or like they have to build off of a franchise that already exists.
Yeah, Frozen would be the newest the most recent, I'd say, breakout original.
Yeah.
Like original that has a sequel coming out obviously this year, but
yeah. Or like Moana or something like that.
Yeah, Moana was another big breakout one. I don't know if it'll be getting a sequel or not. Probably just because I think it did really good box office wise.
Yeah.
But I agree.
Well, it has the Rock attached to it. There's no way they don't.
That's true. Yeah.
Like as a guaranteed money maker.
Yeah.
But I don't foresee a Spider-Man issue like being the same as people who just boycotted Shazam and Aquaman, like DC fans.
Yeah.
Because they were pissed that Zack Snyder got out, which I'm pissed about, don't get me wrong. Hashtag release the Snyder cut. But as a fan of DC, I would never boycott this, but there are diehard DC fans out there who said, you know what, you guys fucked around at the head office level up top who had nothing to do with the production of my movie. Fuck you. You're not getting my money. Which is how diehard DC fans are.
Yes.
Whereas Marvel fans, there's they do have, like you said, the wide base, but I think there's a huge portion of that are people who, if they never saw another movie, a superhero movie again, it wouldn't be the end of the world.
Yeah,
they were along for the Infinity War saga.
Yeah.
Really, I don't foresee there being much higher to go from that.
Yeah.
Like, are they really going to take another 10 years to build up to, or 11 years to build up to the final of the second saga or whatever? I don't think people are going to hold on to it that long.
I'm not sure we could get it that. It's hard to say. It's can't obviously see 10 years into the future, but I agree. If anything, it'll be, I think, 5 years before they have some kind of culminating event just to keep it a little bit more fresh in the mind. Because in my mind, too, though, the MCU did have, two, the original two, the original, Infinity Saga. Even that's, in a sense, in two parts in my mind. Because it's there was the part where there was all of us, the hardcores and the ones who just love superhero stuff that were following it for the first, I'd say, 5 years. And then after that, I think is when it really hit the mainstream of Avengers is out, and now everyone's going, and that's when they were starting to have at least $1 billion one every year. So I think I've always seen it as that a little bit, so I could see how they do a 5-year kind of thing, over the next 5 years, building up to whatever the next thing is going to potentially be. I don't know enough about Marvel Comics to even make a guess. It's is it going to be mutants?
Well,
I don't know.
Well, I think for Marvel too, Disney, what they've done with the MCU is they don't follow source content.
Yeah.
Right? They just say, well, this would be cool. Let's do it. Fuck it. Because they can.
Yeah, well,
they've proven that their fan base doesn't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to see it.
Yeah,
so they can rewrite
yeah.
They can use a name and not use anything from that comic, and still
Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah.
Yeah, like they can do that. So I think that like the sky is limitless for them to want to do stuff.
Yeah.
It's just whether or not we get tired of it, or if we want to see like, oh yeah, cool. Like there's this video out there of that Spider-Man killed, the Mysterio, and now he's a wanted man, but we're just never gonna talk about it again. Okay.
Yeah.
Because at this point, that's almost all they'd have to do, right? Like that's all they'd be able to do.
Yeah, well, exactly. They have to write it off in the way they've written off, their couple recasts, in a sense that they're just like, yeah, we're never going to address that. It's just happened,
Yeah.
So I do hope they come to a deal, but we'll have to wait and see.
I would be okay if they just scrapped it and went back to like the Amazing Spider-Man and just called it the Spider-Verse or something. Just be like, yeah, cool, we're doing another one because here's Spider-Ham the movie or something.
Yeah. No,
or Spider-Man Noir.
I'd probably still go see it if they did still, if this deal doesn't go through, I'll still go see a Sony one, but we'll be less...
Spider-Man's enough of a character that, you'll go see it regardless, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's where it's like, okay, But at the same time, I did go see Dark Phoenix, too, so I don't know if that really says much, so...
That's fair. So you're
I'll go see them all. I'm going to make videos.
That's it. So I'm going to transition into the other news that was released today. They've given us the name for James Bond's new film.
Oh, yes. No
Time to Die.
No Time to Die, that's what it was, yes.
I am so fucking pumped.
What?
Love James Bond.
Wait, you're excited about something?
I'm psyched. This hasn't happened in months.
This hasn't happened since Endgame.
When was the last time I was psyched?
You were psyched for Endgame at some point, I would say.
But and then it ruined it.
And then it ruined it. I agree. Since then, I can't. This is definitely the first time you've brought up something, especially franchise related, because Bond is a franchise, but it is.
Oh, absolutely.
It's also the original franchise that has always done it the loosest. And it's like, yeah, we're.
There is no continuity.
That's what I mean by loosest, yeah.
Like the fact that we're able to look at, be like, oh yeah, here's our 5th James Bond, and not give a shit.
Yeah, same
I'm so
M.
Okay with it. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
You mean we're gonna go back and we're gonna do movies that take place significantly before Doctor No, but also take place
modern
after
day?
It in technology? Who gives a shit?
Okay, it's James Bond.
Yeah. The fact that the M with was it Dame Judi Dench?
Yeah.
Yeah. With her as M, and then there's oh yeah, cool, we're gonna kill her off and replace it with Ralph Fiennes, and you're like, I'm game. Yeah. Fuck it. I don't even care. Because I don't even care. Although I want Idris Elba as the next one.
I'd be okay with that.
But at the same time, and this is a little bit of a questionable area I'm going to bring up, I keep seeing people trying to pitch everybody as James Bond. One guy was like, oh, I think we're ready for a transsexual James Bond. Or yeah, the world wants this James Bond. And I was like, just give me James Bond, dude.
Yeah, well, see, I think that's where we fall into the category of we don't necessarily have a...
I don't need to read that, oh yeah, no, I think the world is ready for this. Just fucking give it to me. Don't be like, I think we should do that. Just fucking do it.
Well,
take the leap, bruv.
I think I know what you're saying, but I think we're yet to kind of give them a little credit. Is that, well, they're not filmmakers, and the two of us are very represented in lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of movies and television and media and stuff. So to those groups that aren't as represented, I could see why they would be like, well, where's my James Bond that's like me? I get that, and I get where you're also like, well, then make it. And it's like, I see where you're both coming from. And I think everyone's got to be like, yep, we just got to be a little more patient sometimes.
I mean, there's limitations. James Bond is supposed to be this alpha male. Let's be real, or this alpha whatever.
Well, that's where
you're never gonna see a fat James Bond, because
I agree.
If you're gonna make a fat James Bond, he's gonna be a super hacker, and at that point, you might as well just have Q.
Yeah, I think
which is a series I would watch if I'm being honest.
Series?
Fuck Pennyworth. I give no fucks about watching an Alfred Pennyworth TV show.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Give me Q.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
I'd watch the shit out of even if it was that loser hipster Q from the Daniel Craig ones. I would watch that.
Yeah, no, I've always liked Q as a character.
I would watch the shit out of him as like a grunt who has to like work his way up through the ranks to get to that like top tech guy.
Yeah, that'd be interesting actually.
That'd be amazing.
Him like he's always not like under the wire to have to come up with some new tech invention to give to some agent who's on like a mission, and then he has to like maybe take it to that person because he's still low enough that he's like a field guy. He's the tech field guy, meaning he's getting sent everywhere because he's kind of like the grunt in that sense. I like that. He's always in coach, like on planes.
Yeah,
and stuff.
like oh god, I'm so pumped. It comes out in like April, I think it said. Like it's early-ish next year that it comes out.
Wait, this is an actual show?
No. I'm talking about James Bond.
Oh, okay. All right, we're back to James Bond. Okay, I thought we were just talking about this hypothetical TV show. Okay.
Sorry, this hypothetical TV show needs to happen. Hey, listen,
Yes.
Hollywood.
Yes.
You can just call it something else. Call it like question mark or something like that. You know, don't let him be called Q.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck is Q in the like military alphabet? I gotta find this out. I can't remember. It's like Quebec or something like that.
Quadrant? No. Quad? Is it just quad?
It's Quebec
Is it Quebec?
in Canada anyway.
Okay, that's fair. Well,
Okay.
makes sense for us. I don't like to think
No,
of
it
us
is.
as the
It is.
universal.
It's Quebec in the NATO phonetic alphabet.
It is Quebec, eh? Okay.
It's Quebec.
Well, I guess I can't think of too many other words that like you're 100% sure someone's saying that and that it's spelled with the begins with a Q, because like quiet. Well, I guess quiet's. I don't know actually. All Q words I'm like
Just call it question or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you're like, question? What? What's going on? Huh? Take advantage of that SEO that every time someone types question, boom, comes up. And then it turns out that that's what the Q stands for. Like M stands for minister.
Yeah.
Q stands for question. I'd be psyched. But I'm fucking pumped out my ass for No Time to Die.
Yeah, no, and I like that title. That's my thing about these new ones in particular, since they're not, most of them aren't based off books anymore, right? You would know better than me.
I think there's a lot that are like
Short
split stories from what I understand.
Okay.
Like it would be like, here's one book, we're going to turn this into 2 movies. I mean, considering, was it Thunderball and Moonraker or something like that? Or like,
Yeah, they're identical.
or like
movies.
they're the same fucking movie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care at this point. Just give me more James Bond.
Well, no,
Give me Idris Elba as James Bond.
Yeah. No, I'm ready for that too. I just meant I like that the title fits in. Like I don't know if it is actually a novel or one of the stories' title. So I meant it does fit in with the ones I know.
Oh,
for
it
sure.
absolutely
Like, it does fit in with the Casino Royale or Tomorrow
The
Never
James
Dies.
Bond names
Yes.
are possibly like top 10 best things about them.
Yeah.
Because like they roll off the tongue.
There's an eloquence to them. Yes.
Other than Octopussy,
Yeah, that
they're
one's-
all like Dr. No.
That's the exception. That proves the
Beautiful.
rule. The octopus-
GoldenEye, amazing.
Oh no,
like,
there's so many great ones. Like
Like if they could come out with James Bond shark bait, ooh ha ha, and I'd be like, I'm fucking game. I'm gonna go see this. James Bond shark bait, ooh ha ha.
yeah, I agree. I'll watch any James Bond movie as well. I like that. I've liked the character up to now, and I'm curious to see where they take him from here.
Especially considering Daniel Craig like retired from. He's like, I'm not doing it again.
Yeah.
And then he's like, never mind, I'm gonna do it again.
Well, that's an interesting thing that I've gotten some context to. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but when he said that, it was also after like literally 48 hours after he'd finished filming like reshoots for it, and
Yeah.
he had spent the last 12 hours doing press junkets. And then somebody asked him, "Oh, how excited is he to get started on the next one?" And he's like, "I'd rather
like,
kill
"Bro."
myself."
Yeah,
And I'm
he's
like,
like,
I get that.
"Bro."
I'd probably said the same thing. So like, I think the context is like speaks to it. He had a few years off. Like it's been a decent gap since the last one. Spectre. That's it.
Yeah. Well, the fact that they've come out with 2 Kingsman movies in between
Yes.
Spectre and now, and then they also have like the prequel Kingsman movie coming out. I think it's next year as well.
Yeah.
Or it might even be later this
It's
year.
either later this year or next year. It's
Yeah.
It's sooner
like,
than
the fact
I thought.
that those 3 have come out, like, just give it to me. Like,
well, that's one interesting.
I think being North American too, like the thought of MI6, like we hear about it in other spy movies or like Jason Bourne or like those type of things where you hear about MI6,
Mission Impossible,
or even in that Hobbs and Shaw movie that came out.
Yeah,
like they reference it. But like we don't actually know anything about it because we're in Canada or the States or like North America where we're like everything's CIA and FBI.
Yeah.
Like they never fucking talk about CSIS. I'm all about Canadian content. Give me a CSIS show.
Wait, you don't know about the CSIS sitcom?
I don't want a sitcom. I want a legit, like I want Quantico, but I want it done with CSIS.
Okay, I don't know if there's that, but I know there is a Canadian CSIS sitcom. Because I've watched a few seasons of that, and that is definition Canadian content.
Yeah, I'm not gonna look into
You
this.
would like it. I can't remember the name of it. It's some kind of like cop pun of some kind.
Intelligence, is that what it's called?
Maybe it was just Intelligence.
Intelligence is a Vancouver-based crime drama television series created and written by Marie Spalding.
That might be it. Yeah.
This was from 2000.
I'm just looking it up right now to like confirm.
This was 2005 to 2007.
Canadian TV. That's not even the one I was thinking of. That I was saying.
Oh shit!
So this one looks more like the one you want. This one is a drama.
Multiple.
Because the one I was talking about was a comedy.
Insecurity is a Canadian action comedy television series.
That's it.
Okay.
It's Insecurity. That's the name of it. As soon as you said that, I'm like, yeah, that's the name. Because that's a sitcom-y name.
Oh shit! 2011, it got an award
Well, I mean,
for best performance by an actress in a continuing leading comedic role.
yeah, that show's was decent. It's just funny, but again, so it's not CSIS. It's
the series is set in Ottawa, but filmed primarily in Regina. That is the most Canadian sentence I could say.
See, this show's perfect for you and Craig. It's got 2 seasons.
Now I gotta go try to find down Insecurity.
Well, I think it says CBC is the original network, so it might be on. Not CBS, Jeff. My bad. So CBC, they might have their own app still too, though. But yeah, no, that one was pretty funny. I totally lost our train of thought on what we were even talking about.
My point was, in North America, we don't know much about MI6 outside that it is a security policing faction.
What we've gotten from movies. And it's like, well, that's not too accurate.
But do you want to dive in and start your WWWTW list?
Yeah. So I already had mentioned before that I'm still rewatching Stargate. That goes on every once in a while as just a background thing when I'm cooking or cleaning around the house. I also finally got my Endgame DVDs, so I watched Infinity War and Endgame
2 times.
A couple times this week. Yeah, you're not wrong. And I know you're not as big a fan of Endgame, but I love it. I tear up at a couple scenes because I'm just like, yep, this is what we waited 10 years for. Cap was worthy, all the fun stuff. I just love it, and it just... I've
said it before, and I've said, it's not a terrible movie to sit down and watch, but it was too much, dude.
No, I agree.
There's too much going on.
It's 3 hours, so it's a lot
3 hours,
commit to.
You know everything that happens. It's not
I agree. It's not a surprise once you've seen it already. So.
And it's like 60% callbacks.
Yes, I agree.
Which at least in Infinity War, which is my top 2, top 3 Marvel movie. At least in Infinity War, you go back and you watch, you're like, oh man, I didn't see that, or oh my god, look what's going on in the background here. Whereas Endgame, a lot of it's just hey, remember when we did this? It seems to me, and I was actually telling one of my customers about this the other day because he hadn't seen it yet, and we were discussing it because I had a plan at the shop because 3-hour movies, that's cool. I press play 3 times.
Yeah.
But for Endgame, it almost feels like those guys who graduated high school and just never grew up and got jobs. Y'all got jobs? It's them just being oh man, remember when we stole that kid's bike and then we went down to Sean Johnson's house and stole his parents' beer and we just went down to the crick? that's what it feels like, where they're just like reminiscing. So they're like, "Oh, remember when we did this in Captain America?"
Yeah, but
or like, and I know they're doing it for the fans.
Well, and they're not like, I mean,
But-
story-wise, it's not that they're just reminiscing. They're going back to those times for a reason, to save half the universe.
Dedicating a solid 30 seconds to talking about Chris Evans' ass,
Oh,
unnecessary.
30 seconds is a stretch.
There's a solid 40. No,
That's a stretch.
because that is not a stretch because they reference it and then Ant-Man goes on about
There's-
it. It is funny the first time.
There are 4 lines. there's Iron Man makes a comment saying it's not flattering. Then Ant-Man says that's America's ass. And then we see, what's his name? Then we see, Cap say that is America's ass. So
It's too much, man.
there's
There's a solid 40 minutes of that movie that they could probably cut out.
that I wouldn't argue with. I wish, I don't know if they did. I haven't checked out the Blu-ray part yet, but I kind of wish there was a slightly shorter version of it, like a quick version, because I sometimes I just want to get to the fight
reverse, like the reverse theatrical release.
I kind of want to skip like the part in like where you see them actually going to retrieve the stones and just like hop ahead, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like,
Considering the fight through to like the funeral is an hour long.
and see, that's the part I care about the most. That's what I mean. So like, if you took out the second hour where they're back and the part like the reminiscing part, I agree. You could remove a lot of that, like where they're actually going to get the stones. I felt like you would have been even cool if they had actually left that out and given that as like different, like a series afterwards or something like that. Like they're, you know what I mean? We see, so like
Yeah.
at first we don't see the adventure, we just see them go into the thing and then come back. And that's so like that takes out that hour of the movie where they're traveling and doing all that stuff. And then you get a series later where you see all this individual stuff filling in the spots later. Kind of like the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, but it's too late for that. They already released the movie. It made billions of dollars. So, what do I know? But yeah, so I watched those. I also watched Hot Ones. This is generally something me and Craig talk a little bit more about.
Who is on this episode?
This one I watched was the season this season's season finale, which was with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That's what it was. I remember he makes a reference to The Rock? No. Or someone. I saw a snippet of it on...
Well, he
Something.
refers to a few different wrestlers. A lot of wrestling questions, obviously. That's what he spent a lot of time with. But no, it was a good interview. I'm not like a wrestling fan in particular, but I'm always curious to hear from them afterwards because they are athletes. They do it. It is a different form of.
Whether it's choreographed or not...
Yes, it still takes a lot to be able to pick up a 300-pound man. Yeah, like
yeah, like they still got to hit the fucking gym. They have to act like... It's definitely, like, I think it would probably be just as mentally strenuous as it is.
Well, and I think that's why we've gotten a
physically.
few great actors from the wrestling arena in a sense, because like The
Well, the
Rock
fact
and Dave Bautista, like they needed that skill to be able to be successful in that arena. They just also are ginormous human beings.
Yeah, or even like John Cena, where he's a B-list actor now.
Yeah, he's starting to come
Like-
up. He's a good comedic actor. He's following a similar like trajectory as The Rock was in his first 5 years, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like very similar, which a lot of them have. Like there's so many other ones that we could list that have definitely been in movies. I think Stone Cold himself has been in a few of those, like
At the very
Marine
least.
yeah,
Yeah, at the very least, The Expendables, I'm sure he was in there somewhere.
I think so.
And Grown Ups too.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was in that. My problem is I do get him and Goldberg mixed up sometimes. I believe that's the other wrestler's names. He was in The Longest Yard.
Well,
guy
he
with
was
the mustache.
in. Steve Austin was in The Longest Yard.
See, and I might be getting Goldberg mixed up right now. Let's just gotta look him up quickly. Goldberg. I think that's his
Smosh
name.
the movie.
I think this is the. Yeah. So Bill Goldberg is actually the guy. I know well, they might have both been in The Longest Yard, but he was the one who I was referring to, who was in The Longest Yard, who I do get mixed up with Stone Cold sometimes because they're both giant. Bald white men.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
he's one of the guards, isn't he?
Pardon?
He's one of the guards in this, wasn't he?
I think he was the linebacker. Wasn't he? I don't know. I've watched The Longest
Well,
Yard
no,
forever.
that was Steve Austin who was the linebacker, wasn't he? Or was it Bill Goldberg?
Okay, so are you talking the cons or the
I'm
guards?
talking. I think he was a guard, wasn't he?
Okay, so Bill Goldberg, I think, was on the cons as a linebacker. I'm pretty sure.
As well as the giant dick.
Yes, I
Okay,
believe he's the one.
What year
with the
did
big
that
cup.
come out? He's Oh, he is Battle. Why the fuck did I think? I guess I'm the one who fucked up.
I didn't want to disagree because I have not watched that movie since.
They look so similar.
Well, that's what I mean. They are very identical. They're two giant bald white men. And,
okay. You know what? Yeah, Steve Austin's the guard. Oh, he's the one who's like, that's the way the white man plays guitar.
Was that?
I'm pretty sure that was him.
I think you need to rewatch The Longest Yard.
Maybe. I don't know.
That should go on at the shop. You only have to press that 9 times to get through the day.
That's it.
But yeah, so that was an interesting Hot Ones. He really handled the heat, but you could also tell a few of them got to him, but he still held his composure. But still, it was a little bit, Steve Austin.
I could see Steve Austin doing if they did another reboot of Predator. I could see him doing kind of the Arnold role, just with a more serious, not heavy accent.
Yeah, no, I agree. He's definitely he fits that kind of prototype. Arnold comes from bodybuilding, so he just had less of that acting ability than these wrestlers have, actually.
I just watched a YouTube clip. It is Steve Austin who says that's the way the white man plays guitar.
Okay.
In the locker room.
Okay. I think it's the mustache that throws me off in that movie then. Does he have just a straight mustache in that one? Or?
I think he's got the goatee.
No, he says that to the guy with the mustache. That's what I was thinking of. The guy who grows tits. I was thinking of the guy who grows tits.
Where they replace the steroids with estrogen.
Yeah, no, I was getting mixed up, those two. So I was thinking of that locker scene. I was just Anyways, Longest Yard, adding that to the what to watch list.
Yep.
But the last thing I watched this week was a lot of Hell's Kitchen. I watched the full first season. It was added to Amazon Prime. I've definitely already seen this season a couple times, but I love having Hell's Kitchen on as a background, another one of those background shows while I'm cooking or doing stuff, because I can just don't even have to hit pause. I'll get up and I'll leave the freaking room and come back, and it's okay, they screwed up a couple more tables. They didn't do this, whatever, but I still enjoy it to pick up the few cooking tips and the few little things and just kind of laughing at people who, most of them don't have too much experience in restaurants. Some of them do, but none of them have the experience of being fast in a restaurant, and that's the part I always find interesting, because it's no, I used to work in fast food, so I know how to get out burgers in under a minute, and these people are taking hours to serve one freaking meal because they don't know how to cook it right, and I'm just you guys suck. But yeah, so I just enjoy that. Plus, I'm just Gordon Ramsay obsessed, so I'm making my way through Hell's Kitchen. On Amazon Prime.
Making my way through hell, cooking food.
Yeah, that's all I watched this week. What did you watch this week, Andrew?
Well, I'm about to hit you with roughly half of my last 2 weeks. Okay. I can't remember a lot of it.
That's fair. It's been longer.
What I have remembered is on my list. I watched Detective Pikachu.
Oh, shit.
Because I bought it.
Nice.
And regretted it.
Yes.
Within 10 minutes. That movie was fucking terrible. And it wasn't the acting. It wasn't the dialogue. It was the Pokemon.
Really? Okay.
They looked so fake. I don't know what I expected, but I was hoping for more of a realistic appearance and not entirely animated.
Okay, see, and most people told me the opposite, which is they felt it looked too realistic and not animated enough. So that's very funny.
No, I look at them and you can tell they're fucking CGI.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting Super Mario Brothers, where everything's plastic hanging off them, but if they had given it a Lion King look, where it was animals that are talking.
Yeah.
Make the Pokemon look like they might have in real life, which I get would be freaky in some cases.
And it's tough just because it's none of them are real, so it's
no.
Okay, what do we imagine the ducks look like? Well, it's well, real ducks have feathers, but when you think of Psyduck, in my mind,
he's smooth.
he's like a lizard.
He's like silk.
Exactly, and it's okay, well, that's I wouldn't know, so that's why
I picture Golduck with feathers. Psyduck smooth, Golduck feathers.
Okay, you know what?
Golduck was top 5 favorite Pokemon for me growing up.
Same here. I love a psychic Pokemon.
Yeah, he was like my backup. He was the guy I kept at like, level 75, just strong enough that he could fuck up most things, but also I didn't have to train him too much further.
Yeah, and you always I added fly to him so that he was my first flying guy.
No, see, I was also like Pidgeot was like my favorite flying type, so like I always kept him in. But I bought and watched Detective Pikachu. Fucking, ugh, it was so bad.
Yeah.
Like some things don't need to be made live action.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. From what I heard, I haven't seen it yet, but from what I heard about it, I'm like, yeah, no, I haven't gotten to it for a reason. Like,
yeah, like the only animated show that I watched as a kid that off the top of my head I really want to see live action. Because I know I said Digimon before, I don't want to see that. That's something that could stay animated. Mm-hmm. Maybe Voltron.
Well, yeah, because that's Power Rangers.
Because that's basically Power Rangers, right? Like, I just like big robots busting shit up. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a good one. I had one in my mind that I was like, I'd be okay with that, and I just blanked when you said Voltron, though. So, never mind.
Yeah, okay, well, if you remember, let me know.
Yep.
So, I finished Digimon Season 2.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was the one I was thinking. Still great. So I was like...
Yu-Gi-Oh! Because see, that would be cool. See, that one I'd be fine with if they, like, stuck it in their dual disc, and it was like animated holograms.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's coming off of a fucking card.
Exactly,
Like,
yeah,
they could literally have, like, holograms fighting each other.
Yeah, so I think
that
would be better. And it's, like, and a more, like... It made more sense as a live action, too, because it's like, okay, well, this is just a game that they're playing.
Yeah.
That they have cards, too, and... In the
I
show,
feel bad for whoever has to keep Yugi's hair.
Yeah,
but
I agree. I think that's probably why they've avoided that in like a few other of them, because it's like, well, you can't really translate that in a realistic way where it doesn't look stupid. That I've seen.
Where it goes from like the short kid to like this like tall like 6-pack ab adult.
Well, and just the hair just being like it defies gravity. You know more about hair than I do, but I imagine that's not
it would be like trying to make
possible.
It would be like trying to remake a live action Dragon Ball Z movie,
which they failed
and have it make sense.
Yes,
like there's just certain things you can't do. Like what are you gonna do? Give fucking like who's the guy with like the third eye in his forehead? Like you can't have that. Like that would just creep people. Yeah, that was Piccolo. Yeah, it would just make him. No, Piccolo was the green guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was just green. I thought he had an eye in the middle of his head too, though.
I think I was talking about like the white guy. Isn't there a white guy with?
Yes, you're right. I was mistaken. That's why I just got them mixed up. There's I haven't watched Dragon Ball in so long.
I gotta know. Anyways,
I think that's
what else is coming up?
Trunks? No.
Tien? Does Tien have 3 eyes? Nope. Yes, Tien Shinha. Or Shinhan, sorry. Tien Shinhan.
Oh, okay. No,
he's super muscular with 3 eyes, but probably like near the bottom of the list of strong guys.
Easier for me to remember.
So I watched Batman Hush as well. We discussed this via text
briefly.
They change a lot of stuff.
Yes.
From the comic to that.
Which
but they tend to do that, right? Like there's some things just they haven't introduced that character yet.
Particularly so that movie or that comic, which is a mystery, which is like based around this thing that once you've read it, it's like, well, yeah, if they did an exact adaptation, it's like, well, yeah, I know what's happening. I'm just waiting for this guy to be revealed as him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in this one, they've convinced you it's the Riddler. Like they don't even come out and say that Hush is actually Doctor whatever the fuck his name is.
Okay.
Like they're just like it's the Riddler, and I'm sitting there watching like, but it wasn't the Riddler. What? But in this one, they're like the Riddler goes into the Lazarus pit, and like all of the world's knowledge is going because he's dying of brain cancer.
Okay.
And they can't take his tumor out or something. So like they've tracks down a Lazarus pit, gets in it, and like all of the world's knowledge is flooded into his head, and he figures out that Batman is Bruce Wayne. Okay. And he's like, no, it can't be. And that's when he kind of sets all his plan in motion to like kill and destroy. And they don't have Clayface, which kind of pissed me off because I really like the Clayface fight scene in the comics where it's like he pretends to be Jason.
Yeah.
But he uses all of Dick Grayson's fighting moves because he hasn't actually fought Jason. He doesn't know what his stuff is. So he uses all of Dick Grayson's, and that's how Batman figures out it's Clayface, because he's way too acrobatic as opposed to like brute force.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no,
Hush is such a good comic.
I've only read it once. That's one of the ones I want to add to my collection eventually.
It is fantastic. And the animated was good too. Like I really like the style. They switch up his Batman's costume.
Oh, cool.
Because like when they shoot the cable and he falls and he breaks his back and gets his brain damage. Mm-hmm. Alfred's like, hey, use this costume. It's got a thicker helmet, and he switches to like his rebirth blue.
Oh, okay.
As opposed to the black.
All right.
He's still got like the chin strap on it, like the new 52 chin strap. Mm-hmm. But he's got the rebirth blue colors instead of the black. And I'm like, ooh. Yeah,
Batman's got a new suit.
That's it. Batman's looking good. Just like Pamela Isley, who's just a babe. No matter what incantation they give her, she's just a sex pot. So I had Endgame playing at the shop.
Yes.
Talked about that.
Yes, we did. I didn't want to start you up again.
Yep. Kendall and I went to see Hobbs and Shaw last week.
Oh, yes. I can't remember if I talked about my thoughts on the show about that or not, but...
I honestly did not listen last week. I haven't had time. What were your thoughts on it?
Oh, no, I can't... I don't know if I even talked about it on last week. I thought it was one of my... I preferred it to most of the Fast and the Furious movies, but it's not a good movie, if that makes sense.
It was mind-numbing entertainment.
Yes. That's the best way to
describe it. But at the same time, it was a movie that I... like. The last 20 minutes, I remember being genuinely heated. Okay. Because they're like, yeah, we can only hack into their weapons for 6 minutes. And I'm like, cool, okay, 6 minutes. I'll remember that number. And then they're like, yeah, they're going to show up half an hour before dawn because that's when the enemy is most tired. And you also, when the fight's going on, you have the sun at your backs. And you're like, okay, cool, that makes sense. And they show up 5 a.m. so the sun's still down. Yeah. And then they do their haka and they're like Kata! Or whatever, they do the haka, which is fucking cool to see. Yes. And then they blow a bunch of shit up. And then it's noon. They deactivate the weapons when the sun's down, and then all of a sudden it's noon. Yeah. Well, it is bright. The sun is legitimately way the
No, I agree.
It is up.
It's far too bright, but that's...
And it's been 6 minutes. It takes this woman half an hour to get the virus out of her into this fucking thing. Their ability to follow time. And some of the coolest things in this movie were just things that are physically impossible.
Well, yeah, that's why we watch these things. Like The Rock jumping down a building, which again, we're not spoiling anything. This is all in the trailers.
where he's jumps out the window, lands on the guy, beats him up a little bit, jumps off him to another guy,
you would die.
Falls 30 feet through a window and lands on a car. Yeah. Gets up.
You'd be dead. I don't care how big and muscular you are. You'd be dead.
Dead.
But that's what the fun of it was. I enjoyed.
Or he tries to pull a Captain America, where he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to hold on to this chain attached to this fucking helicopter and this truck." And you're like, "I know that you can do this, but come on, son. Come on, son."
Yeah, well, I think The Rock probably saw that scene and was like, "Ooh, I need a good bicep shot like that in one of my movies." That is legit reason. And he just picked a helicopter for the exact same reason.
I also didn't like that they tripled down on this love-hate relationship between the two of them. There was a line where it was yeah, this is interesting. They don't want to have to. Yeah. But at the same time, they had already established kind of not a bromance by any means. And the last one was not the Hateful Eight, Fate of the Furious. Yeah. They'd already established a working respect for each other. And then all of a sudden it just became, fuck you, man. No, fuck you. I'm going to shove my foot so far. Come on, dudes.
Yeah, I thought a couple of those times it stretched on, especially for how long the movie was. It's I don't need 5 minutes of you guys insulting each other back and forth. Rule of comedy, 3 is max. Then stop it. I don't need 5 insults back and forth. Very long-winded ones, too. All their insults are very long-winded, full of an explanation. It's not like a funny punchline. It's funny punchline.
Yeah. No, there's just... It's a little too much, the Fast and Furious franchise. The first couple, I've said it before, I'll say it again. The first couple, cool, they're trying to get car people involved. And then it becomes military ops. And now it's just straight up secret agent factions. And you're like, what?
Yeah, now it's just an Expendables with our modern action people, you know?
Yeah. Now it's just, we're going to get Ryan Reynolds coming in and being Ryan
that was a
Reynolds
spoiler,
and
yes.
being, like, annoying? Yeah, cool.
I thought that was fun. Completely unnecessary.
We're going to get Kevin Hart
so
in just
stupid.
because, like,
yeah, no,
man.
I agree. Both of those, 100% just setting up for the sequel, but
Yeah.
they were fun nonetheless. And they were small enough that I was like, okay, they didn't beat it too much into death. Like they could have, like, especially with Kevin Hart's character, they could have really like pounded that a lot more in, and they just gave just a little bit. Especially considering again 3 hours, they could have given us more, and I'm glad they didn't. But I get why you didn't love it. I thought it was fun. That's all.
Yeah. So, what else I watch? I started watching Walking Tall
Okay, yeah, The Rock.
with The Rock because I fucking love that movie.
Yes.
It's so good.
Yep.
Kendall and I went to watch it, and then she thought that Walking Tall was Gridiron Gang.
Oh, well, that's...
I think, and she said that's not what it was, she just screwed up the titles, but I think it was like in her head, like she thought like The Game Stands Tall, that football movie, and The Rock, I think she kind of fused them to Walking Tall.
Or maybe she
instead
got
of
the
just thinking-
Rundown mixed up with Gridiron Gang, because those are similar-ish.
Maybe,
Like,
but
I could see how she would maybe
started
think
watching,
the Rundown was like a football movie.
Yeah.
And again, those
Well, I mean, there was a football scene in Walking Tall, so maybe she just thought that was everything.
that's fair, too. Or maybe she just doesn't remember the Rock movies that well.
Yeah, maybe. But we stopped watching that and we watched The Guardian instead.
Who's
With
in that?
that is, I can't remember his name. Son of a bitch. I can picture him. He's the guy from Draft Day. He played Robin Hood. Kevin Costner.
Okay. Yeah, no,
Kevin Costner plays
Ashton Kutcher, right?
Yeah, and Ashton Kutcher with the
Yeah, they're...
the Coast Guard,
Coast Guard.
rescue swimmers.
Yeah, no, I've seen that one.
Phenomenally underrated movies.
Yeah, no, really, I really enjoyed that one. I remember, I
movie.
think I had it as a DVD bundle with The Perfect Storm. It's like one of those Walmart dual packs.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, it was a phenomenal movie. What else? Kendall and I watched a couple episodes of CSI the other day.
Right on. What season?
The end of season 14, beginning of season 15.
Okay, so you got
Nick Stokes is about to leave.
Who?
Nick Stokes, he's about to leave.
All right.
We got some issues with Seattle just showing up in fucking Vegas somehow. So things following Ted Danson, as things do.
As things do.
And the only other thing I watched that I can remember is I binge watched all 3 seasons of Happy Endings between Saturday night and like noon on Sunday.
You really love that show.
It was good. Well, I was doing a lot of house cleaning and cooking, and I needed something that I'd seen
yeah.
before as background.
That's fair.
But that's it.
Exactly what I use, yeah. All right, well, I guess that brings us to the end of the episode then.
That's it. Longer than anticipated, but you're welcome.
A little bit. Yes, you are. Thanks again for listening, everybody. Bye.
Bye.